What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. So, Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong Un meeting here, and well, take a look at what they're saying here now of their sacred war. That's right. Take a listen.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un expressed his support for what he called Moscow's sacred fight against Western imperialism as he met Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday. The pair exchanged a long handshake and warm greetings outside the Vostochny Cosmodrome, Russia's most modern space rocket launch facility located in the country's east. At the opening of their meeting, Kim spoke of his country's unwavering position to further develop its friendship and ties with Moscow.
Russia is now in the sacred fight against hegemonic forces to protect its sovereignty and security interests. We have constantly expressed our full and unconditional support for all the decisions taken by the President and Russian leadership. And I want to assure you that we will always be together with Russia in the fight against imperialism.
Putin showed Kim around the Cosmodrome, including the building where Russia's latest space booster is assembled. Earlier, when asked by reporters if Russia would help Kim build satellites, Putin said, quote, "That's why we came here." North Korea failed twice to launch reconnaissance satellites in the past 4 months, but the US has warned that an arms trade could be on the table. Kim's delegation includes top defense industry and military officials, a sign analysts say suggests an agenda heavy on defense industry cooperation. Washington and allies are concerned that Pyongyang will supply weapons to Moscow to aid its invasion in Ukraine, though both countries have denied such intentions. Meanwhile, just an hour before the highly anticipated meeting, North Korea launched 2 short-range ballistic missiles, according to South Korean and Japanese authorities. Analysts say it was the first launch by the North while Kim was abroad, and it could imply that Pyongyang is adopting an increasing level of delegation and more refined control systems for its nuclear and missile programs.
Yeah, so the question here is how much of an alliance will we see going forward, and how large will this grow as a threat, maybe a nuclear threat going forward? As the leaders hail an alliance stretching back to the Cold War era. Kim Jong-un said that, quote, both countries will always be together in the struggle against imperialism. He also said that Russia has risen to a sacred struggle to defend its state sovereignty and protect its security in opposition to the hegemonic forces that oppose Russia. Now, Vladimir Putin will most likely be giving at least to North Korea space tech, possibly spy satellites, and more in exchange for arms. We will have to see what will be going forward here. But we will definitely be seeing an exchange of military supplies one way or another between Russia and North Korea. And as of right now, they're saying to hell with US sanctions or European sanctions and or more. They just don't care. General Mark Milley describes Vladimir Putin, quote, with a tin cup in hand, asking North Korea for munitions. Take a listen here.
Kim Jong-un is on his way to Russia right now to meet with Vladimir Putin, presumably to ask. Vladimir Putin presumably wants weapons, wants ammunition from Kim Jong-un. How serious is that, and what will that do in the calculus of the war if Russia gets weapons from North Korea, and what does North Korea get in return?
Well, what's actually amazing to me is, the Russians and the North Koreans have had a strategic relationship since World War II. Kim Il-sung, the first president, the grandfather of the current leader of North Korea, he was a colonel in the Soviet Army in World War II, and then at the end of the war, when the country's divided by the 38th parallel, the Soviets brought him in there and installed him as the leader. So they've had a relationship with Russia for going on 8 decades, really. So it's not a surprise that they have a relationship. What is surprising, though, is the relationship seems to be inversed. It was previously that North Korea was dependent upon Russia or China for support. Now, because of the war in Ukraine, Russia's having all kinds of challenges, and one of their challenges is in munitions. So it looks to me as if, and I don't know full details, but it looks to me as if Putin's gone to North Korea with tin cup in hand asking for weapons, munitions, and support, which is an inverse of their previous relationship, which is pretty fascinating.
And if he gets them?
Well, he'll probably get something. I'm not sure how much or how fast, but he'll probably get something out of the North Koreans.
And will that change things in Ukraine?
I doubt it'll have a substantive effect on the outcome, one way or the other. I think they'll get some munitions, but I don't know that they're going to get so much that it'll make a substantive difference.
And this comes as Cuba arrests 17 people for allegedly helping recruit some of its citizens to fight for Russia in Ukraine. Cuban authorities have arrested 17 people in connection in what they have described as a network to recruit Cuban citizens to fight for Russia in Ukraine. The head of criminal investigations for Cuba's Interior Ministry said on Thursday on state media that at least 3 of the 17 arrests are part of recruitment efforts inside of Cuba. He did not identify the alleged members of the network, but said they had previous criminal records. Some families speaking up about the case, at least one mother said that her son was promised a job in construction in Russia. You know, this is if they come back from not dying in Russia's war, right? Cuba's foreign ministry said on Monday that the government had detected a network operating from Russia to recruit Cuban citizens living both in Russia and in Cuba to fight in Ukraine. It said the authorities were working to neutralize and dismantle the network, and that Cuba is not part of the war in Ukraine. Yeah, so really, this whole situation just grows more and more complicated and just a nightmare. And it just seems like we're further and further away from this entire war ending and how long this will go on. And I don't see any resolution. Remember, we really just seen here a statement from the U.S. saying that Russia shows no signs of negotiating any type of reasonable response to ending the war at all. You guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here with everything happening here on a daily basis. If you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on any new videos. Completely free to do so. New videos come out here every day, 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for liking and sharing these videos. Take a look at this major warning that Putin and North Korea just sent, or what is happening here in less than 24 hours for the United States. Click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.